powering up the Anafi for the first time. Good morning, everybody. Well, about 3 days ago I received the Parrot Anafi, and I was going to take it out for a flight, but it has been A, extremely hot, and B, extremely windy. Well, today it's not hot, but it is really windy, so I'm in this little clearing beside my house, so there's not a lot of room to fly, but it's surrounded by trees, so it keeps some of the wind away, which is going to be pretty good to fly the Anafi. The sun has gone out again. Now, this is just a first impressions video, so I can't test out all the features. I'm just going to fly it around this tiny little area and look at the most important features that most people would like and just see what my impressions are of them. All right, here we go. Now, before we take this for a flight, let me just give you my first impressions of this here drone, unboxing it and starting it up. All right, a quick unboxing of the Parrot Anafi 4K drone. Here we go. Contents of the box: you have the Parrot Anafi in its holder, you have the controller, and you have a little box that says propellers. And I would take it that these elastic straps here, which have some play to them, they're designed that you could put some sort of strap through it, a belt or a strap, and attach it to a shoulder strap or maybe to a backpack so you can go hiking or touring. Open up this non-waterproof case. Yes, do not take this out in the rain. And we see that there's some nice little foam molding right here. Very nice. Just yank this out. Very light. The only weight is the actual battery. Over on this side, you have the USB-C cable to charge the battery. And over on this side, you have the SD card. Well, it's actually an SD card adapter. The micro SD card, I believe, I don't see it there, so it must be in the Anafi itself. And then you just plug it into this, put this in your computer, and you can watch the actual movies you've just taken. Here we have the Anafi itself with its little arms that pop out. Very nice. Looks like a nice little insect. The camera is right here. A bit fragile, no gimbal guard. Comes complete with lens cover. The battery can be removed by pressing this button and pulling backwards. And tearing it to pieces, as I almost did there. So the battery's not very big. And there's my micro SD card. It's included. It's already sitting in there. It's a 16 gig micro SD card. And now a quick weighing of the Anafi. I have to turn upside down so it fits on my scale. 191 grams. And if you take this battery, which is the most heaviest part, shove that on, and we're up to 300. Let me just move that out of the way. 318 grams. The bottom of the Anafi, here you have the sensor for shooting at the ground to see the height. Here you have the optical flow sensor, so it can actually take images of the ground and know when the drone is moving. And there's a little fan. Unlike DJI drones, which have multiple sensors on the bottom, this one is pretty straightforward. It doesn't have any redundancies. It just has one sensor, one sensor. Looking at the gimbal itself, you can see it can move from side to side for when the drone is flopping around in the air. You can also see that when the drone is moving like this, it can move forward and backwards to keep the image stable. But it doesn't have anything for when the drone is wickedly turning like this. Normally there would be some movement that allows the gimbal to move this way. That's where it uses digital stabilization. The controller, I will say this controller is heavy. I have never felt a controller this heavy before. This is massive. They must have some wicked battery in here. That's a heavy controller. Here you see the buttons, very nicely laid out. I like that. And of course, this pops up and that's your antenna and holds your phone or your small tablet. And it powers on as soon as you lift this up. Just for fun, let's weigh to see how heavy this is. In this hand, I have the heaviest controller for the Mavic, which would be for the Mavic Pro. Thanks to the display built in, it makes it a little heavier. And on this side, I have the controller for the Anafi. Let's check out the weight difference. So, Mavic Pro controller is 310 grams, and the Anafi controller is 400 grams. Oh, 399 grams. I went on a diet. Also included are spare propellers for the Anafi. Opening the box, you see we have 8 blades. It takes 2 blades to make 1 prop, and they included a little tool here to help you install the props. And finally, you can see here that Parrot went the extra mile because they don't give you a quick start guide, they give you a super quick start guide. So this is really thin. I'll check that out. And finally, this would be your super not so quick start guide because it's pretty thick. That's just a flight safety guide. To charge up the battery fast, since it's just USB, I have it attached to a Samsung quick charger for a cell phone. Firmware update. One thing very apparent on the Anafi would be the actual motors. They are extremely small and very open to the elements. When you look at the Mavic Air, you see the motors are much more closed, less vulnerable to the elements. One thing very apparent with the Anafi, although it's made very light out of lightweight materials, it does have an awful lot of holes that would let the environment in all over it. It's not very closed tightly. And when you remove the battery, there's even more access to the internals. Dust and dirt and water could easily get in there on the circuit board. When you compare that to something like the Mavic Air is pretty tightly sealed. Everything is a nice tight connection. There are no visible holes for dust and dirt to get into. And removing the battery reveals a tight seal inside. I put a new SD card in and it doesn't like it. Why don't you like it? It's a really good SD card. Let's just see. Unlock this way. Now the Parrot Anafi comes complete with a 16 gig SanDisk micro SD card, and it's already been formatted and works perfectly, and it's sitting in the little tray back here. But there's a problem. For some reason, Parrot opted not to go for a slot to slide your micro SD card in and push in and have it come out like every other drone and most other devices on the market. Instead, it's a cell phone tray they've stuck here. You have to carefully put it in place just perfectly. Now see this little metal cover? This metal cover, if you flip it back too far like I have here, it will literally fall off to the ground and you will lose it, and this will be useless. So be very careful. This does fall off. And when it's on correctly, you can pull it forward and lock it in place. Unfortunately, this type of system does lead to a few glitches. Glitches as in you go out and record video, and guess what? It's not recorded or it's glitched. Only part of your video is there. One other issue I've noticed for Mac owners, I own a Mac. If you take a card like this, a Samsung 64 Evo Plus, and you put it in the Parrot Anafi and hit format, it will format nicely and it will record your video. Except when you put this card in your Mac will say, what kind of card is that? And will not be able to read it. You will have to stick it in a PC to read your files. So the takeaway here is make sure the micro SD card is well seated in place and it's locked in place and there's no dirt or dust on the contacts, or else it will not function 100%. And the second takeaway is if you put a new micro SD card in your Parrot Anafi, format it in the Parrot Anafi, take some test videos in your house and check it out on your computer if it's a PC or a Mac to make sure it works before you go fly and do your big adventure. And yes, I'm speaking from experience here. One thing I like about the Anafi, as soon as you take off, it is going to automatically go into record mode, and to take off you just press this button here. So it should lift up, I'm not doing anything, and it just sits there. Oh, it's moving a little bit in the wind, it's got to decide where it is. It's got GPS, but it is a little breezy here. So it should be recording now, and you should see me right there. Now it's moving back over the landing pad. So it's kind of stable in the wind. Seems to be moving side to side here. Let's just see. So far it was over the landing pad, now it's over there. Is it going to come back? And it's still drifting a little bit, up and down. And it's still going that way. So not sure. Anyways, let's just move it around. So you have different flight modes, and right now you have two modes. You have film mode or sport mode. So right now I'm in film mode. That is like tripod mode on a DJI drone. So I'm moving it here. See how slow it moves? That's film mode. Very slow. Like if I want to do a full 360, it's going to take a while to get around. And if I want to fly forward, full speed, watch, I'm going to walk with it. That's, well, it's faster than me. That's full speed, but it turns really slow. So in film mode, you would not fly that around objects because you would not be able to turn fast enough. Now the cool thing is you can adjust all the settings in film mode so that it can turn faster, and it can do other maneuvers like your camera speed and everything else. So it is set up for that just by going to the settings. Now I'm going to switch it here to sport mode. Now I'm in sport mode, which is basically not sport mode like on a DJI. It is basically what you would consider normal mode. So it flies at its regular speed in the wind. I'm gonna have to adjust the settings on here. I don't like the way it turns. It turns way too slow. Like it's not spinning around. That's the fastest I can get it to spin. I've got something wrong with my settings here. Let's go to settings for a second. There's my problem right here. Mine was set at 30. I'm gonna put it up to 100. That's a bit more responsive. I'm not gonna fly it too high due to the wind. It does look pretty wicked when it's flying, but it is a really tiny drone. I'm just showing the features right now people would like. So I'm filming at 4K and I'm over there. So say I wanted to zoom in to me. Well, on your actual controller here, that's your zoom button, and you have a setting. You could put it to do digital zoom where it zooms right in and then you get that it's grainy and everything and not very good. Or you can have it lossless zoom. This is lossless zoom, so I'm gonna zoom into me. Here we go. So no loss of the actual image when I'm zooming in. It's pretty cool. Obviously the other feature everybody loves on this is the camera looking up. So as I'm going to go through these trees, I'm going to look up. And look up to give you that awesome view. And now we're going to look forward. They're coming back to me. Oh, there's no obstacle avoidance on this. I almost ran into a bunch of tree branches there. Anybody that says you don't need obstacle avoidance on a drone has never flown into a tree. Like me. So anyways, yeah, you could actually crash into stuff no matter what. So here I am under a tree. And I'll get out of that as the wind goes. Whoa! Now I'm switching it to HDR. Kind of looks fake in the screen. I'm going to walk in front. Just watch me, for example. Here I am. There's my back. And here's the front of me. Here I am out here. Now what I'm going to do is see the sky. See the trees. Okay, I got to do this before the sun comes back out. I'm going to take off the HDR. And there's the sky. See it? So now this is the natural look. So which one did you like better? Well, let me tell you this. If I put it on HDR, let me just switch it back. Okay, it's back on HDR. If you zoom into the image, you will see grain, especially in the darkness of these trees. I don't know if I can do it here. If I zoom in manually with this thing, let's see. See, the manual zoom still works, but I don't know. Do you see any grain appearing in these trees? I'm not doing this on a computer. I'm doing this actually on the actual Anafi. So I'm just hitting the little button here, which is actually causing me to zoom. Let me just look down at my head here. So this would be like a crappy digital zoom. That's why I don't like the HDR thing. So I'll just zoom back out. HDR is good in some cases, but not all cases. It's very nice that they included it because on days where the sky is like that and the ground is like this and you want to film a golf game or something, HDR is probably pretty good. But on a sunny day when you're flying over the beach, and everything's nicely lit, the HDR is not going to look that great. Oh, here comes the sun. The sun's coming out. So here we'll see a little bit of sun with HDR. How does that look? See, now I'm getting the shadows and stuff like that. Let me take the HDR off. I look like I'm on a golf course here. Bottom of my screen I have standard mode, cinema mode, hyperlapse, slow motion, high frame rate. So here we're going to do hyperlapse. As soon as I hit the record button, everything is going to speed up massively. So it's between the two trees way over there. What I have to do is fly it forward. I don't have to fly it fast. Just have to fly it nice and smooth towards me. Fast will all be done by the actual drone. So it's coming towards me. Let me just get in front of it here. So that was hyperlapse. Another great thing it has is slow motion, and it's going to film me. I'm going to run. Here we go. Put on record. And I'll just run across here, holding the controller, looking kind of goofy. Another thing on this drone is you have manual flight, which I've been flying in. You have cameraman, smart droney, touch and fly, follow me, and flight pan. Well, let's do the follow me right now because that's what everybody wants to see, because that's why you would buy a drone. But wait, wait, wait. I can't do the follow me. Why? Why can't I do it, Parrot? Because there's a little lock screen. Why is there a lock screen on my little display? Because I have to buy it. I have to pay $30. Get down here, drone. I have to pay $30 to buy that application. Watch this. Check this out. I'm looking at my screen here. In-app purchase. Buy follow me for $30.99 Canadian. I assume that's Canadian because I'm in Canada. That's insane. There's no follow me feature on here unless you buy it. Yeah, I know you're bouncing around in the wind. It's having some difficulties with the wind there. All right, I'm going to try cameraman. That one's free. Draw a rectangle to select a subject. And cameraman, no matter where I move, it should follow me. Okay. So unlike the Autel Evo, the cameraman actually works on this because I'm pretty tight. If you can see here on the video, look at how tight I am towards the Parrot Anafi. It's working quite well. So cameraman, bonus. Pretty sweet. So when I go touch and fly, so I just went touch to fly and look at it, gives me a map of where I'm standing and it says select the destination. Press and hold to choose a point of interest. That little thing was over there. I'm just going to hit right here. Oh, look at that, it turns. So I see on the right-hand side of the screen is for each waypoint, you can adjust how you want the camera to be pointed, up or down, and then it just flies over to my destination, which was right about there. Yeah, and it does stop. That's pretty cool, and it's waiting for me. You see it also has cine shots. So you got 360, reveal, rise, and epic. I don't know what that is. The 360 would obviously be just spin around 360. And it says which direction you want to go. So I say I want to go that way. It's doing 360 right here. I'm not doing anything. It's just spinning 360. And I say I want to do a rise. Let's see, I'll get under it here. Rise. There we go. It should be me. Is it recording? Yeah, it's recording. There I am. There's the rise. And it goes up pretty high. Wow, you're fighting the wind up there, Anafi. Okay. So it should come back down. And it says it's coming back down to land because I'm at 4% battery power. So it's not bad with 4%. Oh, I'm at 3% battery power. And it's going to land on the ground because we're out of power. It's getting freaking windy here. Look at, good timing. It's like picking up crazy wind. All right, so the battery's out of power, so I got to stop. So final thoughts on the Parrot Anafi. Well, first off, the in-app purchase, not a fan of that, not a fan of that. Are you a fan of that, Anafi? Not a fan of that. Especially for follow me. All drones have follow me. This has no obstacle avoidance. So the next best thing is to follow me, and I have to pay $30.99 for that? That's insane. What I like about the Anafi is that everything was simple to use. It did exactly as it said. I love that little, when you see the map from above and you can pinpoint where you want it to fly and then adjust the camera for when it gets to that location. That is very smart, and I'm glad they included that. So that's a bonus. Having the camera move all the way up and all the way down is a bonus, but without obstacle avoidance, that's a bit of a hindrance because I want to fly in locations where I'm not looking forward anymore. I'm looking up and flying forward. So Parrot, put the obstacle avoidance on the next version, please. The zoom function, loved it. Very good. Like the zoom function. Thought it was very useful, especially the lossless zoom. HDR, somewhat okay. The flight modes that you saw for the different things, the Hyperlapse and then the cinema modes, all the things that you have on a DJI drone are pretty much all included here. Actually, I think this even includes a bit more of the ones you would use more often for most of the public than what DJI has. So Parrot, you know, you get bonus points for that. Very well done. So to sum up these first impressions, let me just say, if you have a budget of $699 US, then 100% this is the best drone on the market for that price. If you have a budget that goes much, much higher, well then there's other drones on the market that might interest you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the end of this here video. It is a first impressions video, so once again, these are my first impressions, first reactions, first thing that comes to my tiny little goldfish brain that comes out of my mouth is what you get. As I fly this more throughout the summer, I'll have more comments and I'll show you more videos of cool things and I'll compare it against other drones, etc. And if you keep watching this channel, you'll see every drone that's popular. It will be on this channel as per normal, and I'll have reviews and first impressions and all that other good stuff that goes along with drones, as well as many other cool videos as subscribers to this channel already know. So, hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and we'll catch you in the next video.